Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're now tuned into the 411 podcast and reading Between the Wines, powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network. More than a podcast, this is a sanctuary for self-discovery, healing, and personal growth. Here, we explore what it means to live debt-free, not just financially, but spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Every episode is part of a journey across our weekly mentorship series: Spiritual Sundays, Mental Mondays, Transformational Tuesdays, Wind Down Wednesdays, Coaching Sessions Thursdays, and Financial Fridays. Each day holds space for wisdom, clarity, and real conversation. So grab your journal, pour your glass, and prepare to go beyond the surface. Because here, we don't just talk, we transform. And now, here's your guide through it all, entrepreneur, mentor, and founder of Black Diamond Consultations, Laren Gaines.
What's going on? What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Rewinds. It is Wind Down Wednesday, and that is exactly what I come here to do. So, I've said this before, but it definitely is going to be a great show tonight. Thank you so much for everybody out there who is joining. I see YouTube out there tonight. What's going on? Thank y'all so much for coming on in. D Live, Facebook, Twitch, I want to say thank y'all so much. The best thing that you can do right now before we get this thing started is please go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend, text a friend, do whatever you need to do to let me know that you out there. I definitely do appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in. So we're going to get into it. Tonight we sampling some red wine. I told everybody that I would start to get into Snoop Dogg's wine, and I'm going to revisit all of them because I am a fan, and his wines are great value. So I wanted to take it from the top. It's a little chilly now here in the great state of New Jersey. Fall is officially here, so I'm going to kick it off with his red blends. He has two, and then we're going to take it down the line. So, yeah, we have his silky red blend, Cali Smooth. He has Cali Red. Tonight I'm sampling Cali Smooth. I've never tasted this before, but I have sampled the Cali Red before. That was the first Snoop Dogg wine that I sampled. That actually was his first one, and since then it exploded, and he has so many. He has Cali Smooth. He has the original Cali Red. He has a blush. He has Sauvignon Blanc. He has a sparkling wine and a sparkling rosé. A lot of different from Snoop Dogg's 19 Crimes. So we're sampling Cali Smooth tonight. But before we get into that, I want to stay focused here. I don't want to get carried away with that just yet. But I want to give a very special thank you to my executive producer. I want to thank God for giving me another opportunity to come out here and give you this great Reading Between the Wine show. Without him, none of this would be possible. And without the love and support from each and every one of you all over, I wouldn't be here. So I want to say thank you so much. Simple little things as far as liking, commenting, just letting me know that you're there. That definitely goes a long way. If you're out there on YouTube, the best thing that you can do is hit that like. Let me know that you're out there. So it's Wind Down Wednesday. This is part of the mentorship series. If you are interested in being a part of the mentorship series, you can reach out to me. You can DM me. You can text me at 609 200 1098. You may also email me at larrygaines.com and I will share with you what you need in order to have a seat at the table and be a part of this mentorship series. The mentorship series, we do a lot of great things behind the scenes that not everybody sees. So I can give you some insight on that as well as far as specific text messages, and I also do a live Q&A once a month, and you are also invited to all of the master classes I produce. Just coming off of my last master class, which is unwrapping financial peace, mastering holiday spending and emergency savings, which was awesome. And if you are interested in checking out the replay for the master class, just let me know. You can DM me, you can text me. And if you're going to text me, just text the word masterclass and I will give you the information as far as checking out that replay. Okay, so I'm going to do a recap of the last episode from Reading Between the Wines. Last episode from Reading Between the Wines was titled Love on a Budget. Now, we're getting ready to get into it. So brace yourself, get prepared, because we're getting ready to go in. Speaking on budget, I'm in rare form tonight, so I'm coming. I just want to let y'all know I'm in rare form tonight, and I'm embracing this. Love on a budget. When I sat back and I thought about the Love on a Budget episode, as I'm going through my everyday life, I have to realize that I have to be on a budget as well for several different things in my life. So I want to talk to you about having a budget for yourself with everything that you do in life. And what I like to say is you can have a little bit of everything that you want in life. You just can't get too crazy over any one thing. And I look back at my life, and the only thing that I can do is just share my life experiences with you. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Please go ahead and share this video, um, podcast feed, wherever you're listening at. Please go ahead and share this. You just can't get too crazy over any one thing. And when I look at my life, here's an example. I remember I had a little crush, and my crush would always say to me, "Laren, don't get crazy." And I was like, I thought it was funny at the time, but I didn't realize that, yeah, I was getting a little crazy, like Beyonce, Crazy in Love. And sometimes love is blind and it will make you do some crazy things. You open up your heart, you open up your emotions, and sometimes some people, if they're not equipped and this is their first time around the track, they might open up their bank accounts, their cars, their homes, whatever the case may be. You can have a little bit of everything you want in life. You just can't get too crazy over any one thing. And sometimes that relationship, that crush, that job, whatever the case may be, you might be getting crazy over it. That's not your end all be all. Listen, I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm only speaking from experience. And before I continue, I want to let you know that this is just my opinion. I'm not here to give you any type of advice, nor am I here to tell you what to do. Now, you just have to be very careful, people. You have to be very careful, ladies and gentlemen, that you don't end up bankrupt, to make sure that you don't end up general. Check out that replay for Love on a Budget. The response from it is just amazing. I want to say thank you. Check that out. You can check it out on YouTube. You can check it out on where most major podcast platforms, whether it's Spotify, Deezer, iHeartRadio, it's out there. Just check for the 4-in-1 podcast and Reading Between the Wines. Now, as I continue, SWV has a very powerful song and a very famous song called Use Your Heart. But you have to be very careful. It's a setup. So many people have told me when I was younger, yeah, just go with your heart. Use your heart. Do whatever. What does your heart say? Yeah, be very careful because Jeremiah 17:9 of all things and desperately wicked. Who could know it? Now, what I'm on is the heart is deceitful, but above all things. So think about your entire body, think about your entire being. Your heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. And who could know it? Now, if you don't even know what your heart is getting ready to do, how you supposed to? Let me just leave it at that. I'm telling you, we getting ready to get into it tonight. So I'm gonna just keep this thing going. Song of the day. Love's Taken Over by Chante Moore, released in 1992 off of her album Precious. Now, we just spoke about the heart. We're going to continue to flow on here. Now, the question that I have is Chante says, now that love is taken over, what are you going to do? Now, if you're not careful and you're not protecting your heart, because remember, we already spoke about what the heart is capable of doing, you might find yourself caught up in some sort of love thing. Now, not that that necessarily is a wrong thing. It all just depends on who you get caught up with a love thing with. So we have to be careful, like I said. Now, do y'all remember that song Love Thing by First Choice? Now, the ladies say it ain't no game. It's just a love thing. And now we're going to take it to the queen of hip hop soul. And she says, see, love will make you do crazy things. When you think you're in love, you only see what you want to see. And all I see is me for you and you for me. But what I listened to it today and what stood out is she says, when you think you're in love. See, a lot of times when we do these crazy things, when we're all wrapped up and trapped up and crazy in love, like Beyonce, the only reason why we do these things is because we thought we were in love. Now, isn't it something when you find out that it wasn't love? It was some sort of infatuation or a one-way street or a one-sided deal that between you and who else? Because if it's a one-sided situation, if it's a one deal thing, who is that deal made between? You and who else? The question is only you. You did this to yourself. That's why we are told to make sure that we protect. Take it back to Jeremiah. We already know what the heart is capable of. So if that is the case, protect your heart at all costs. Learn how to heal on your own instead of relying on others to do the work for you. Because if you don't, then unfortunately you will just have to take that test again. And like I said, I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm only speaking from experience, but the things that I know now, listen, I don't want to take the test over again. I'd like to say that I've passed this section of it. Now, the question that I have to ask out there for each and every one of you is, it's okay. Love is great. Love is a beautiful thing. But remember to protect your heart and know exactly what you're getting yourself into, and know that, listen, anybody is capable of doing anything. You're capable of doing anything, especially when you get that heart involved. You won't even know what you end up doing. So we just have to be careful out there, and we have to be very, very diligent when it comes to protecting and storing what is ours. Why would we just go ahead and hand over the keys to somebody else to drive what we know is so important to us? All right. We rocking and rolling here tonight. I'm ready to sample this wine. I'm ready to get into it. But before we start sampling, I want to remind everybody that Black Diamond Consultations and Reading Between the Wine encourages responsible drinking at all times. Please be mindful that alcohol affects your spiritual, mental, physical, and financial well-being. Irresponsible habits can lead to harmful consequences in each of your life. Enjoy this experience. Enjoy the experience. Savor the flavors and know your limits, because the best memories are made when we responsibly. I was pulling up to the wine shop of course, it's wine and spirits. And I just want to make sure that you're aware that they don't call it wine and spirits for no reason. I'm just going to put that out there. Just got to put that out there as a to keep it real. People start to act different if you don't know your limits and you do a little bit much. So drink responsibly. Okay, so let's get into this wine here. Smells very, very berry. I just want to tell you all that. Thank you so much for joining. Smells very berry. And let's see if it is as smooth as they call it, because it is called Cali Smooth. This is 19 Crimes Cali. This is Snoop Dogg's Cali Smooth Red. It is from the region of California, part of the 19 Crimes Snoop Dogg, collaboration that he did with them. Because 19 Crimes on its own is its own brand, and then of course they, been. It's a red blend. I have no idea what are in here. It seems to be a little bit of a secret. I'll have to do a little bit more research to find out exactly what is in this red blend. Hopefully they'll use take that back. I ain't even have a sip yet. Usually we'll use like a Cabernet Merlot. They'll use that as far as the red blends. The average price of this bottle of wine is about $15, and the alcohol content is 12.5%. So, with all of Snoop's wines, the alcohol content is on point. So, he definitely is not playing. And I believe that the original Cali Red is even more. It might be 13, or it might even be 14% if I can remember correctly. The appearance really truly is dark ruby red. When they say dark red, it really is. I really want to spill this on anything light, because I don't believe you're going to like the outcome. The aroma, you're going to get black cherry. It smells smells so amazing. Blackberry, plum, toasted oak, vanilla, caramel, sweet and smoky is a good way to describe it. Taste Tester says that this wine is smooth, fruit driven, and accessible. Rich black fruit flavors such as black, dark berries, balanced by creamy vanilla, caramel, and oak. This fruit is slightly jammy in character. The finish is silky with lingering oak spice and fruit echoing the nose. Ain't that the truth? Pairs well with grilled meats such as steaks and burgers, barbecue ribs or brisket, smoky sausages, rich pastas, aged cheddar such as Gouda, and other semi-hard cheeses. Some of the fun facts and reviews are: Cali Smooth is described by 19 Crimes as a gentle spin on the familiar Cali Red recipe, with dark fruit notes, toasted oak, and caramel vanilla undertones that support silky smooth finish. Out of 5 stars, taste testers have given this a 3.5. A fun, crowd-friendly fruit blend. It is not the deepest or most complex wine, but it delivers on smooth, drinkable, and approachable flavor. Other comments say one retailer describes it as having ripe, dark fruit notes and toasted oak with caramel and vanilla undertones, making for a smooth, silky finish. And I'll give you one more. Some reviews highlight it as sweeter and more jammy profile that appears to drinkers who enjoy a fruit-forward red. I want to say thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Reading Between the Wines. Cheers. I'm going to go ahead and sample this and bring in my special guest. I will tell you that compared to the first one, definitely is smooth. You can taste a lot of the fruit in this wine, a lot of the berries. It is, I'm not going to say it's sweet. I'm going to say almost like semi-sweet. You're not going to be overly consumed by a really sweet wine, but it tastes Amazing. Like they really did nail this one. Really absolutely tastes amazing. You get the fruit flavor of what could be very sweet wine, but it's not. It ends just like they say, Cali smooth. It ends so smooth. It's less, it's like a downgrade from a Cabernet. Don't get the full dryness of a Cabernet. Say this wine, and they gave it a 3.5 for me. For this type of wine, honestly, I would give it a 5. I would absolutely give this a 5. I think that Snoop Dogg continue surprises me with his. There is one that I would say I'm not really, and that was the actual blush. And the problem with that is it has to be super, super, super chilled in order for great experience with that. The original Cali Red is definitely bold, and you're definitely gonna get a real kick of like Cabernet slash Merlot because all of those grapes are in there. But this one right here, this joint right here, I like this. This goes good in the summertime. It goes good in the wintertime. It almost is like getting close to like the Dornfelder. For anybody out there who likes a Dornfelder wine, I would, highly recommend you trying this. So I'm going to get off of my wine talk because I've probably have said enough, but 5 stars for this one. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and bring in Mr. Birdman 313. What's going on?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm going good. I'm going good. How's everything out there?
Oh, it's all right. There's no complaints. Everything's going well. The weather is starting to. I like it now. It's like 86, so it's nice and comfortable.
That's good. 86 degrees. What I would want. Not what I would want. That's not what I want. What I would give, there you go, to have 86-degree weather this time of year.
Yeah, yeah,
I have officially put on my thermals, aka long johns, because that's what was I was, brought up on as a kid.
yeah. Right, right.
I have officially put them on. And I told people that now that I put them on, I typically do not take them off until spring comes.
Hey.
I just keep it real. I just keep it so
Okay.
real. I like to be so warm, let me tell you. And I
Yeah.
officially wear like maybe 3 or 4 shirts.
Dang.
Oh yeah, 3 or 4 shirts, hands. I do not play. When I say I like the warmth and I want to be warm, yep.
Okay. Okay.
I don't here in New Jersey. I don't belong here. But anyway, so well, let's get right on into this money hacks. I think this is going to be a great episode. I just want to let you know that. And it has nothing to do with Snoop Dogg, but he could definitely help. But it is going to be a great episode. What number would we like to do tonight?
Oh, go with number 8.
Number 8. All right, let's see what we got here on 8. We need to go further than that. We need to go further than 8.
All right, then. What?
Well, you
How?
could start. You could start with anything after 12.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. What about 11?
Oh,
No, I did 11.
oh.
Never mind.
Actually, you know what? Actually, you know what? You know what? 8. We're gonna go with 8. I'll figure it out. I'll just do it differently.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here we go. Number 8. Hack number 8. Hack your spending with the envelope method. Control your spending doesn't stop at making a budget and allocating your money to various categories. Next, you have to stick to a plan. One way to do this is go old school and spend more cash money instead of swiping all the time. The envelope method, a favorite of a personal finance expert, Mr. Dave Ramsey, involves putting exactly the amount of cash you have budgeted for each category in a physical envelope. Your envelope category includes groceries, toiletries and cosmetics, gas, pet food, and care. That's just to name a few. Make envelopes for each category that appears in your budget. The envelope for that category, when that category is empty, you're done spending in that category for the rest of the month. You can pluck cash from another envelope if you really need to make a purchase, but you'll have to make a sacrifice somewhere in the end. The envelope method isn't a great fit for reoccurring expenses such as housing costs and utilities, but for anything that varies, any category that has potential for you to save money on the fly, the envelope method is a good option. And don't worry, you don't have to carry a bunch of envelopes full of cash with you everywhere. Know you're going out to dinner and a movie, restaurant entertainment envelope, and you'll be all set for the night out. So, what do you think about the envelope method?
Man, I sound that makes me sound like I'm in Las Vegas. Cause when, when I go out there, I set money aside for just certain things. Like if I'm a go down there to in the casino, I got a certain amount, and once it's gone, hey, I'm done with it. I have a certain amount I'm gonna spend on gifts, and there's only a few people I'm buying gifts for anyway. So you know,
No,
and when
that's
we
real.
go out to eat, if, you know, and that's just how well we're together. That's how we do it. We set money aside, and once it runs out, hey, that's it, man.
Yeah, gifts is a major issue that get people caught up because they feel that they have to buy gifts for everybody. And speaking of gifts, this is the type of year where time of year where people can get and wasting a lot of money because they feel that they have to give gifts to everybody. So, I know what you
Well,
mean about that.
when I say that, see, I'm a baseball cap fiend, and when I
Mhm.
go out to Vegas and California, I'm getting either the Giants, the Dodgers, the Raiders. I'm getting their caps, and when I buy one for me. Well, one of my sons, he said he don't wear baseball caps, so I don't have to worry about him. But the other one, when I get one for me, I get one for him. And he don't even ask for it. I just do it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So, if you get a baseball cap,
Yeah.
because of the city, the state you're in, if you have that one, are you still getting one just because it's that a thing to do, or is it I'm getting one because I don't have this team or this? How does
No,
that
no.
work?
Well, when I see it, I see a cap. I look at. It, I'm like, oh shoot, I don't have this style here. And I go ahead and get it. Like one of the caps I got, my one of my sons, he wanted so badly. It's a Raiders cap, and when I bought it, I bought it, wasn't thinking, didn't know anything. So I went back to Vegas a few months later to get the cap, and they said, "Oh, that one there, that was like a rare cap," and so I
Mm.
couldn't get it for him. So I got him a different one instead, and he was like, "Hey, pops, when you gonna let me have this one here?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I don't even wear it no more. I put them up, man. When I buy the caps, I put them up. It's like on a mantle."
So
So
now my thing is that uh is could be worth some money then since you actually don't wear them.
yeah, it's just I have a thing for when
Could
I
be.
go out there. I mean, I'll take caps with me, you know. But when I get out there and I see the lid store, it's just something that oh man, let me go in here and see what they got new, and I'll just go in there and
I got you.
it's like some people have shoe fetish. I mean, man, when I pass by a lid store, I'm off in there and I'm looking around to see, just looking to see what the new ones, and I'll get them. That's just me. So I had to control myself when I go in the sporting goods store because it's either a t-shirt or a cap. And
I
normally
know what you mean.
I don't walk out of neither one of them stores without one or both.
I feel you. I want to share something with you since you're speaking about things that we like, you know, purchasing things that we like, setting money aside to make sure we can do the things that we like. Some people have, I think you mentioned shoe habits. Ladies, if you're out there, I know some of y'all like those bags and stuff. So I have a dilemma when it comes to shoes because I read somewhere that there's only 7 days in the week. So human beings, I'm not just gonna put this on men because I know women can be crazy. But they say that we should only have no more than 7 pairs of shoes in our closets. And if you work, you got, you got, like your work shoes don't really count for it. So maybe you could have 8. If you have like flip flops or sandals or something like that, that really doesn't count. But the max probably, I think you're pushing it if you go more than 10. Now, this is coming from somebody who had over 100 pairs of shoes in my house at one given time.
Wow.
And now oh yes, now I've scaled back to over a little over 7. And then when I start to get over 7, I start to feel a certain way. How do you feel about the shoes? And do you think that having 7, since there's only really 7 days out of the week, well, are you really going to wear those shoes?
Well, for me, I there's certain shoes I wear when I go do open mic. And I always try to, match my shoes up with the pants that I wear. So like when I go to San Antonio or Austin, I always take them with me. Even here when I go out to Sugarland to read, and I have a pair of slip-ons, and I always wear them when I do poetry. I do have some other shoes that like I have shoes like when we go out, for lunch and stuff that I have like I got 2 pairs up here in the front room, and I'll grab them I wear them out, man, till the soles fall out. I had some sandals that happened. We went out to eat, and when we got out, I'm walking, and all of a sudden the soles went to falling out
Mm,
off. So and I don't really treat some people, they treat their shoes really really bad,
hmm
and that's something that I don't do. I take care of my shoes, and I mean I got shoes. I got shoe boots that I haven't worn in like 4 or 5 years. That's back there in my room, and I haven't worn them. I have like three. I have 3 pairs of shoe boots, and that's because I wear tennis shoes. The Skechers. I'm a Skechers man. I'm not a Nike man.
Let me tell you,
It's-
them Skechers are on point. I put a pair of Sketcher boots on,
yeah,
and like last year I did. And I said,
yeah.
man, what was I thinking? Skechers have been around all these years, and I can't believe I never got me a pair.
One of my sons, we used to tease him about that because every time it's always he was getting Skechers, we was getting Adidas and Nikes, stuff like that. And he said, that's all right. I don't spend as much money as y'all. He said, but my shoes look just as good as y'all. Man, the first pair of Skechers I got, I'm like, okay, I don't want nothing else but Skechers.
Hmm. Oh
And
no,
that's
that's
why I get that's why, and I've only found this out in California and Manhattan Beach. They have a Skechers store, and they had, because I'm a big guy, and that's where I find my t-shirts at. So when I go out there, I go to the Skechers store, and when I get a t-shirt, I don't get one, I get 3 to 4 t-shirts.
hmm
And I've been to other Skechers stores like in Burbank, California. Man, I've been to one in San Antonio. I've been to the one here, and I just can't find the shirts to fit me. But when I go out there to on Manhattan, Manhattan Beach, go out there or go on the beach, I can find the shirts the size that will fit me.
Yeah, so I guess you knew when you get there, right?
Oh
You
yeah,
got-
yeah,
so when it comes to the things that we like, the shoes, hats, jewelry, ladies, the bags, all of those things. One thing that I have learned is that you got to start clearing some. If you have so much stuff, you collect and you hoard stuff, it's going to be kind of you to get more things. So I've learned this trick that whenever I want something new, just give away and donate, give to somebody in need. And that actually creates space for you to get something new.
yes. That's like me. My if you see my closet, as far as the t-shirts, I mean they line. I have some polo shirts. Yeah, I have. I think I have what 3, 4 polo shirts, and the rest is all t-shirts. So and I ain't got into this.
Okay.
I didn't got into this dry fit kick. Because I like it because with dry fit, and then I found this out. You can ball your shirts up, and you can get a lot more in your suitcase
Oh,
than if you
absolutely.
regular. Yeah. So I didn't got into that kick because whenever I look for t-shirts now, hey, dry fit. If they're not dry fit, I just I'm like, okay, I really don't want that.
Oh, okay. Now I know I'm off topic. It is what it is. I have
Yeah.
to ask this question. I have to ask this question because I absolutely all of my polos because whenever I wash them, like they don't go back to the way they looked when I first had them. What do you do with your polos? Because I'm like, absolutely not, man. I don't want them. Get rid of them all.
I keep mine. I have mine because I can wear them, and like if like I said, when we're traveling, because we go to comedy shows. That's one thing we do when we travel. We go to comedy shows a lot. So I'll take a polo shirt just for that.
And
When I go to a poetry open mic, I mean, hey, it's t-shirts. I'm dressing comfortable as hell. And my youngest son, he'd be like, Dad, you wearing sweatpants and like that. And his mom told him, she said, look, your dad's older than you, and he can wear what he want. If he feel comfortable, that's him. And I told him that, so he actually went to a reading with me, and he's been to 2 readings with me. And he seen how he was like, oh, okay, I get it. He seen how, because he was like, dang, Dad, you dress a whole lot better than some of these poets. Because hey, man, as poets, man, a lot of us just dress any kind of way, just because we're trying to be comfortable.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, if I say I'm going to a comedy show, even when I went to the comedy show in San Antonio, took my boys. I had a polo shirt. Went to the one I went to. We went to 2 of them in Austin. That's what I had. When we go out in California, I'll always make sure I take a shirt that has a collar to it because we have gone to restaurants where you know they say, hey, if you don't have a collar, we can't let you in.
Oh, that's craziness. I don't think I've seen any restaurants like that.
Hey
Wow.
man, LA has have them, but then it depends on who you are. If you a celebrity, they won't say nothing to you.
Exactly. That's craziness. If you don't have a collar, we ain't letting you in, then guess what? I ain't going in there.
Yeah, because like when we went to Craig's was like that. When we first went out there, we tried to get in Craig's twice, but the first 2 times they was closed. When we got there, we had to make a 30-day reservation so
Mm.
we could get in, and then we got in at 5:30. you know, because as the evening goes on, that's when all the celebrities start coming in.
Now let me
And
ask.
Huh?
I don't mean to cut you off. Let me ask you a
No.
question. So you went to Craig's. You went to Craig and them. So after going to Craig and them, did you see any celebrities?
Yeah, yeah. Matter of
Oh, you
fact,
did.
yeah, yeah. Right, sit the table right. Well, it wasn't right next to us, but it was a table over was Don Johnson. He and I looked and I kept saying, "Damn man, this guy looked familiar." He waved at me, you know. I waved back like I'm like, "Damn, this dude act like he know me." And then I said, "Dang man," I said, "He looked like somebody I never looked like Don Johnson." So she put her phone up, took a picture, slide slickly, selfie.
Mm,
She taking a selfie, but she took it to him and his wife, and she sent it to her daughter because her daughter was living out there. And she said, "Well, if he think it's Don Johnson, it's Don Johnson." And then
mm,
we seen the celebrity from a lot of the producers from Cheers. They was coming in there early. I don't know if you
okay.
remember Cheers,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. A lot of them producers and a couple of the actors. I can't remember their name, but they came off in there when we were there. But I'm talking about like later on at night. That's when you get the high profile
Okay.
celebrities. I don't really like to go in because hey man, it's just too crowded.
Mm, interesting. All right, Craig's. And where's this at now?
West Hollywood.
I'll have to keep that in mind next
Yeah,
time.
it's
But
right down the street from the good guys.
okay.
That's
All I
another
know is that
um. Go
all
ahead.
I know when I went to the Hollywood area, I did the TMZ tour
Uh huh.
and asked me how many celebrities I saw.
Oh, you know what? You are lucky if you see one. We did see one guy.
Lucky
It was
zero.
one kid that played on Shameless. We seen him, the one that was the little boy, Chucky. Was it Chucky? I can't remember the name, but it was the little kid that played on Shameless. We seen him. Other than that, you're not going to see too many of the celebrities coming in because Jimmy Kimmel is right there on Hollywood Boulevard. But everybody, celebrities, they go in from the back way. They don't come in the front way. So they go in, the back way. But we went to we was in Beverly Hills and in Hollywood, and over in that area. So that's why we get chance to see who we get chance to see.
Listen, if I saw a celebrity on me too, I was not happy. I was not happy with that experience at all.
But yeah, one thing I learned, and I learned this from people when I first went out there. They say, "Hey, remember this? They put their pants on. You put your pants on the same way they do. So, only thing different is their bank account." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "You didn't have to say all that. It just
Right.
you could have left it at. You could have, yeah, you could have left it at. We put our pants on the same way."
Well, speaking of bank accounts, let's get right on into this here. Now, I do want to say
Yes.
thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate you. If you can please go ahead and share this. We're getting ready to the assignment for tonight, which is what pretty much brings everything to life. Which we don't actually need it because we do it on our own, but you know. So tonight's assignment says, "Dear Reading Between the Wines." I never thought that I'd be writing into a podcast, but here I am, sipping this glass of Merlot and trying to figure out how I got here emotionally broke. I'm 42, divorced for 3 years, and finally started dating again. I met a woman who seemed perfectly smart, spiritual, beautiful, and independent. But over time, I noticed she only reached out when she needed something. At first, it was emotional support. Can you pray for me? Then it became financially. Can you spot me till payday? Then physical. She only came around when she wanted to feel something. Ain't that something? I convinced myself I was being a man of God by helping, but truthfully, I was just afraid of being alone again. And I've been pouring into her, but my own cup's been empty. My bills are paid, but my spirit feels bankrupt. Last week, she texted me saying, "You're such a good man. I just need time to figure me out." That hit me hard because I realized I've been financing her healing while neglecting my own. My question is, how do I stop mistaking emotional debt for love? And how do I rebuild myself without becoming cold or closed off? Mario. Mario's from Houston, Texas, by the way. Let's take it to the top. Dear Reading Between the Ones, I never thought I'd be writing into a podcast, but here I am, which that also is a Mary J. Blige song. Just want to put that out there. Sipping the glass of Merlot and trying to figure out how I got here emotionally broke. I'm 42, divorced for 3 years, finally started dating again. I met a woman who seemed perfectly smart, spiritual, beautiful, and independent. But over time, I noticed she only reached out when she needed something. At first, it was emotional support. Can you pray for me? Then it became financially. Can you spot me till payday? Then physical. She only came around when she wanted to feel something. I am convinced, I convinced myself I was being a man of God by, but truthfully, I was just afraid of being alone again. I've been pouring into her, but my own cup's been empty. My bills are paid, but my spirit feels bankrupt. Last week, she texted me saying, "You're such a good man. I just need time to figure me out." That hit me hard because I realized I've been financing her healing while neglecting my own. My question is, how do I stop making emotional debt for love? My question is, how do I stop mistaking emotional debt for love? And how do I rebuild myself without becoming cold or closed off? Mario from Houston, Texas. What you got for Mario?
First of all, he needed. I don't know, man. He 42, been divorced for 3 years, and he just started back dating. Well, the thing about that, when you've been divorced for 3 years, you should already automatically, well, not really, I guess, you should know what to look for. And it seemed like he's looking for the wrong type of person in the wrong place, if that makes sense. Um, I
Like
you
it.
know what got me was he said she seemed perfect. First of all, at 42 years old, you ought to know ain't nobody perfect. Nobody is perfect, not even yourself. That's his first mistake. And he said smart, spiritual, beautiful, and independent. The independent one that got me, I'm like, yeah, you probably think she's independent, but it sounds like the whole time she has somebody else on the side too. That's just me. I can't speak for others, how others feel or how he would feel about that. And he says she only reaches out when she needs something. Well, you know, I think he probably told her too much, and so she felt like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get what I can. And then when she realized, oh, this guy is falling too hard for me, it's time for me to pull up. That's how I look at it. Now, I know everybody else can look at it differently, but that's just how I looked at it. I'm like, man, you told her too much from the very beginning. And
Mm,
and so like by you doing that, he set himself up because like I said, I'm always say this. Most guys when they first meet a woman, they're trying to impress her. And you know, he probably didn't do a thorough check on her background or her past because what made him think she was spiritual, what make her think she was independent, because he said seen, and I just took that word right there and said, okay, you said seen, she never showed you. It to me it seems like she never showed him that she was smart, spiritual, Okay, she may, yeah, beautiful. I am not gonna knock that. Or independent. Those are three things that he just, he kind of like overlooked.
This is this is a I want to say want to say I don't know, it's very complex. You want to know why? Because he opened up what we talk about tonight, like opened up his heart, right? He didn't protect his heart.
Exactly.
And this goes for everybody. Yes, this is a man, but I'm kind of like I want to say I'm kind of thrown back by this.
I am too,
And
because
I
like I
want
said, he said she seemed perfect. Like I said, nobody. You 42, and you've been divorced for 3 years. You haven't learned yet that no one's perfect.
well he must just be going through the divorce blues, or if that's even a name for it. I have to come up with a different name, but after you get out of a divorce, you start to feel yourself. Oh, I'm free. You might have been a little hurt up. You probably didn't do the work that you were supposed to do, which is being by yourself. He said 3 years. Is that long enough? I have no idea, because everybody's experience is different. Some people, they stay by themselves for 2 years, and then they find somebody that works for them. Who knows? Like, some people, it's been like 10 years, like, before they find who they're really supposed to be with. And then during that process, they took time to find themselves. So what you said was so key. Nobody's perfect. The fact that he's sitting here saying that I met a woman who seemed perfect lets you clearly know that he didn't do his work. Because if he
Yeah,
did his work, like you said, he would know that nobody's perfect. You would be able to see the flaws and be able to accept this person for who they are, and then look within yourself and say, now, can I handle this? Yes or no?
yeah, because
So
when she asked for, okay, and there's nothing wrong with somebody asking you to, asking, hey, pray for me, and then you be like, okay, so why do you need me to pray for you?
I was going to say, sometimes you got to be careful about the people that you ask to pray for you, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, yeah. And then he said became financial. If he didn't know by then that it was going in her way, but it was actually going against what he was looking for.
Now, what would you like to say to this guy that when he's asking, he doesn't know how he became emotionally broke? So let me see if we're on the same page, because this is what I would like to say. She asked you to pray for her. Now, you just said, we just agreed that sometimes you got to be very careful who you ask to pray for you. Your question was, why does he have to pray for you?
Yeah,
That's not been disclosed. We don't know why she pray. But the second thing is, can you spot me till payday? Now,
exactly.
that's the first red flag. Number, like I spoke about before, no romance without finance. I was speaking about Gwen Guthrie, right?
Yeah,
Like, if you're not in a situation to be dating because you don't have the finances to make it work, then unfortunately, that's just what that means.
right.
Like, get to the point to realize that we can't play that game, because play that game, then you'll become more financially bankrupt.
Yeah. Well, and then that part where he said he got what she texted him that you're a good guy, and that when I read that, and like I said, I read this like 3 times. Matter of fact, I read this just before, about an hour before we came on here, because I kept getting that same thought cross my mind. I'm like, okay, if she texts you that She couldn't tell you face to face. And to me, it sounds like one or two things. She's guilty, she's feeling guilty, or she's back with the person she really wanted to be with.
You
That,
know,
like I said, that's me. And the reason why I say this is because I kind of had a situation like this before, after my marriage, which I really wasn't looking for nobody. Hey, I was happy. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, man. I was happy, man, because when I got my papers say I was divorced, shit, I went to the club that night, man, got drunk as hell off of brandy, man. So I wasn't looking. Any woman came up and talked to me, I'm like, yeah. So what is it? We gonna do something or not? And she said, look at me like, no. I'm like, okay then, bye. And I'm gone, and I was happy.
listen,
So
after mine, I was like looking for love in all the wrong places. So this letter here, it kind of resonates.
yeah, yeah, I understand that, and the fact that he said 3 years. Come on, man. Well,
Three,
like you said,
three.
everybody is different. Cause I mean, it took me 24 hours, and I was like, man, I'm good with it, cause I want to get out of it anyway. So that may be why I was different about. Hey, I want it out anyway. So um, it just seemed like 3 years, and then he said he guessed he just didn't want to be lonely again. And sometimes the best time in your life was when you are alone.
I know that's right, but the problem is that you don't figure that out until you have enough discipline to control yourself, self-control, and stay by yourself long enough in order to figure it out. Most people won't do that. And I know for sure, I know one thing for certain is that I most certainly was not that person. Like God had to like put that on me and start to close doors and block certain things because I was just so hard-headed and I was just so ready to do the same exact stupid mistake that I did in the beginning. And it took my higher power to say absolutely not. Like if you listen, you don't love yourself enough, but I love you that I'm going to jump in and I'm going to shut all of this crap down.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I'm still here and able to do what I'm doing here is because somebody take control because I was clearly out of control.
And I noticed a lot of a lot. I mean, this go for men and women, where they be like, well, I don't want to be alone. And I tell anybody, hey man, sometimes it's best that you are alone for a while to figure out what went wrong, and maybe the next go round it'll be better. But it's very rare. It's very rare when you're young that you meet someone and you're happy all the time, because you ain't gonna be happy. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long a relationship lasts. There's a lot of ups and downs, and
Mm.
there's gonna be times when you be like, why did I do this? And that's why I say I use a lot of these. When I'm talking, I guess a lot of it has to do with my way my first marriage. It was miserable. I was miserable. I ain't gonna lie. I was very miserable. Only good thing that came out of my right. Well, my kids, okay, but it was the fact that I would sit back and I would put my feelings or my hurt on paper. Where a
Hmm.
lot of people they couldn't do it or they didn't do it. And I've talked to people and they said, "Wow, man, you was putting yours on paper and you was getting it out the way." I'm like, "Yeah, I would go to the park, be there, hey, be at the park by myself and happy as hell. have hey man, I had me a beer and had me one and lit it up and sit back and be happy as hell. I can go to the parks, I can go to the beach and just let just I guess you could say open up and let my feelings go. Because I posted a picture on to some of my college classmates, and I told them that when I listen to the ways words begin to dance through my mind. And one of my classmates, she challenged me to write something about that. She said, "I would like to know what's going through your mind." And I was like, "I don't think you really you really want to know what's going through my mind." But I'm releasing my stress.
Right, right.
And I tell people that I say, "Hey man," I said, hey, go to the I said, just go to the park, man. I mean, you don't have to go to the park with somebody. Yeah, you're gonna see couples together, but hey, man, you're there for you know to relax and to release all this tension and all this stress that's in you.
Yeah, you got to do what works for you and what makes you happy.
Right.
And once you get with yourself and do the things and find the things that make you happy, a lot of things will start to click together. So
Right.
I'm going to
And,
take this thing. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, I know what I do works for me. It's not gonna work for everybody. So that's
Exactly.
why I say I always make sure I tell people this is what I did. You got to find out what makes you happy. If it's sitting at home listening to music and thinking, sitting at home reading a book, or sitting at home and whatever, that's what you need to do, and stop worrying about, because I always say God will bring the right person to you if you just be
Mm,
patient.
it's dope. Chalk this thing up as this gentleman here did not spend enough time by himself. I don't 3 years was enough. Again, I don't know the situation or the complexity of it. Just coming from my own personal experience, like that sounds like that wasn't enough because I've pretty much made this mistake before in my past. And you got to be careful when you don't protect your heart and you just jump in and you run into things and you put expectations on people that they don't even have for themselves. I'm going to say that one more time. When you put expectations on people when they don't even have these expectations for themselves, I was told, I don't think I can do this. But then in my mind, I was like, oh, yeah, you can. Because guess what? I'm going to try to make you do it. And instead of signs, red flags, signs, whatever smoke signals that said, Laren, I don't think that I can do this. But I'm thinking to myself, yeah, you can because it's what I want, not necessarily what you want. And then exactly what is happening here in this letter. And that comes from just spiritual misalignment. Let's just take it from the top. Let's not even get into the mental, like we don't have time to go back and forth. Let's just take it to the ropes. Spiritually, is this the right thing to do? This is just a question right there. Am I doing the right thing? Spiritually, does this make sense? That if we can ask that question, it can solve a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, if you got some friends, personally, when I went around my friends, I didn't really talk about what was going on in my personal life,
Yeah, you gotta be
because
careful.
yeah, because as soon as you leave, matter of fact, you can't even get out the door without they already downing you. Talking about you. So you got to be careful of who you talk about. And if you got one person that you can confide in and just say, hey, I just need someone to talk to. Can we, just chat, and they don't go really deep off into it. That can be helpful too. And like I said, for this guy to be 42, I mean, it seems like he's rushing. He's rushing for all the wrong reasons.
People start to wake up in their 40s. Like you put up with in your 30s, when you get 40, you're like, absolutely not. And then it continues to progress when you're in your 50s. The stuff you put up with in your 40s, you're like, absolutely. Now, if you continue to do the same stuff and you're in your 50s and you're accepting the 30-year-old style, then listen, you might need to pump the brakes. That don't sound too good. Don't look too good.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel the same way. And I would tell people, and sometimes people laugh about it, and I'm like, well, I didn't grow up until I got in my 50s. Or actually, it was when my dad passed away, and then I realized I was going to have to be there to help my mother. Then that's when I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to grow up and help help my mom. And by then, I already had, 7 kids, and I'm like, wow, man. I said, this is just crazy. And I kind of, it just something just hit me, and I woke up, and I'm like, okay, I knew what I had to do, and that's when I said, man, I wish had been doing this earlier. And
Exactly.
I told my mom that one time, and she said, well, I tried to tell you, but when I seen you was hard headed, I just let you. I said, I told. She said, I always said is one day he's gonna say, why didn't I do this earlier?
You know, I had the same experience. I didn't wake up until I was 40. So the thing is that same thing that your mother told me, my mother told me the same thing. Like I tried to warn you, but you were going to do it anyway.
Right, right.
So I get it. And it's always that question that goes in the back of, your mind like, well, I wish I known what I know now back then. But then I have to stop myself and say no, because what I know now is powerful. It's amazing. It's life changing. And if my mindset wasn't aligned properly, and I know of a person I was, I'm gonna put it that way. How much of a person I was, I'm gonna name it that way. I don't think I'd still be here today if I had all of this knowledge and information.
Yeah.
So you gotta like take the good with the bad and know that it's just part of the process. And there's a reason why, know know now back then. Because if we were on, I would say, and we weren't aligned properly, spiritually, mentally, you know, things could be way different. So I try not to
Oh
stay
yeah.
in that. I try not to stay in that space, and I go every day for where I'm at here today.
Yeah, I am too. I am too, because
Yeah.
sometime I will go back to that, and then I'll think about. I'm like, wow, man. You know what? If I was, I wouldn't be able to, do the things I'm doing now. That's
And I
why I look
think that
at it.
I think that the paths that most creators are on, the past shaped and mold and put you to put us to where we are here today.
Right.
And that's the thing that I could think of at this moment. And I tell myself, you good. This is part of the process. This is part of the plan. Like better. I've seen too many. I know better. Like I didn't do any of this.
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Right. So, but like I said, this guy here, like get back to him. Um, it's just that he's 42. He should known better. And she said he'd been divorced for 3 years. And yes, don't get me wrong, he didn't say how old this lady was. She could have been, because they always say older men's like younger women, so that the younger women will make them feel young again. you know, and so I'm wondering, was this a young woman because of some of the things, like I said, he said he she seemed, you know, hey man, I know sometimes that first appearance can get you,
Oh,
and sometimes you got to be real careful of that first appearance, because a lot of them say, oh, that first appearance will get you in the door, and I'm quite sure he met her the way it sounds. I'm just assuming, I don't know. That he might have met her in the club, because, and he thought she never told him what the deal was. See, that's why I'm saying he really never got any information. He didn't get no information. He just assumed that she was independent. See, and when she starts asking him for money, he should have known then she's not independent, because why is she? And so then he got to think about, well, before she met me, what was she doing? Was she doing this same thing?
wow. I'm still stuck on the spiritual aspect of it. I feel that you have to know who you are. You have to
Yeah.
know who you are so you don't fall into these traps. And I know that it's easier said than done. And I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm not here to. I've this process. I've been a part of this as well. I get it.
Oh yeah.
You
We
know,
we all have, like I said, I kind of fell for same type of situation. Thought this person was very independent, because she talked a good game, and then I started seeing a little bitty things, and I'm like, man, you know what? I said, she's not serious, even though she said, oh, I'm looking for a serious relationship. Okay. And it's for me, when I hear somebody say that, then I'm like, okay, then you saying this to me on the first time. That means that you're looking for that other person to be serious, but you're not gonna be serious. You're gonna play
my
your game, and you're gonna try to get what you can get.
my thing is anytime that you're looking for anything outside of yourself, then that's an
Yes.
and be very careful when people say I'm looking for something. You need to look within instead of looking out and looking for other people to be the happiness that you need to cultivate within self. Everything
Yeah.
starts with self. So before you can put anything on anybody else, you need to start putting it on yourself and looking within. So, but again, a lot of people won't figure that out until they actually take some time to get with themselves.
Right.
Easier said than done, I know.
Oh yeah. I
But
mean,
again,
go
if
ahead. Go
you
ahead. Go ahead.
if you don't pass the test, trust and believe you're gonna have to do it again. So this relationship might be an example. If you try to do this the second relationship, that is going to be an example. And then the third time, that is going to be an example. Wake up when we realize that, damn, why does this person continuously keep reminding me of the stuff that I've been through, the relationship that
Right.
I was in before? When we start looking at it that way and start questioning and asking our higher power, God, what is it that you want me to learn from this situation right here? Whenever there's hurt, whenever there's upset, the best thing that Mario can do right now is be like, God, what is it that you want me to learn from here? Situation
Right.
I'm in right now, what is it that you want me to learn? And ask and do something different, because whatever was going on in a divorce, clearly this woman is showing you some of the same signs and you don't even know any better.
right? And you know, being he, you know, like I said, he, you know, I go back to it again where he say, "Oh, he didn't want to be alone."
That's the
And
problem.
you know what? And you know, I've gone out like when you know we've gone out to places. I've seen so many people, females, ladies, and men who are by themselves, and they seem happy. And you know, if they meet somebody, cool. If they don't meet somebody, and that's the mindset you had. That was how my mindset was. You know, if I meet somebody, okay. If I don't, okay. I just know I had to take care of myself.
I'll put it this way: you ain't gonna meet if you keep looking and chasing, and you
Exact.
ain't gonna
Oh,
meet much that's worth it anyway. If you keep looking and chasing, and yeah,
that is so true. That's a true statement there, man. I've told you know, like I said, I especially you know when I was doing the HIV counseling, and I had some of them, you know, they was, and I told them, I said, hey, you're looking and chasing, and that's not gonna work. Sit back, take care of yourself. It's gonna come to you. I
mm,
say, trust me, it will come to you. And I said, hey, you'll be happy. I said, but just
right.
you have to be patient, and that's one of right there. Being patient is hard for some people to do. Is be patient.
Yeah, it's powerful. That's what God has commanded us to do, is to have patience and self control, and yeah, it's a daily task. It's something that we have to focus on each and every day.
Yeah,
Wow. Hmm. All right. Well, again, that was a deep one. That was a complex one.
yeah.
If you want to chime in tonight on tonight's assignment and let us know how you feel. Listen, this is just us going back and forth, putting what we put out there. We're not trying to give any advice to anybody. I'm just basically giving you, you know, my opinion based on my real life experiences that I've been through. I'm sure Birdman could say the same thing. If you want to chime in and let us know, maybe you think differently. We're all different. We come up with different ways. Our brain processes differently. So please feel free. Give us some feedback. Let us know. Drop it. You may also text me at 609-200-1098. That is the official 411 podcast reading between the wines hotline. Again, that number is 609-200-1098. Now, we are going to get into the segment that I call Burning Questions. Burning questions for tonight is it possible to give without expecting a return? Or does that always lead to emotional debt? Is it possible to give without expecting something in return? Or does that always lead to emotional debt? Birdman, what do you think?
It's gonna be emotional. I can tell you that it's gonna always be emotional. If you're giving, and the other person is taking, it won't
Mm,
work.
that is so
It's not
powerful.
gonna,
That is so powerful.
it's they you know that's not gonna work at all. And that's just how. I guess that's all I can say about that.
Wow, that is just so powerful. That is so powerful. I don't even know what to say. That's statement right there is very mind blowing because I was told that this game of life is nothing but give and take. You have to give, and of course you can take, but you have to make give and take, the game of give and take, because if you just give, not only are you going to be emotionally in debt, but you're going to be financially, you're going to be mentally, you're going to be physically, because you will be completely drained because you're out there running around giving, being a people pleaser, doing whatever you need to do for everybody else, and ain't receiving anything in return from the book, or basically giving to yourself. So
Right.
you summed it up so well, and that was so powerful. But is it possible to give without expecting a return? This is one lesson that I had to learn was whenever you do anything for anybody, whenever you give, make sure that you give expecting nothing in return, meaning that if you didn't have it to be given it in the first place, then you shouldn't have given. So you can't sit there and complain, and you can't sit there and cry, and you can't sit there and say, look what this person took, or look what I did for this person, or look what I did for that person. Because if you didn't have it, your cup wasn't filled and your cup wasn't overflowing. You had no business to be pouring into somebody else's to begin with.
That's true. And it's so true.
And
I
then
hear I hear people saying it all the time, where I really didn't have it to give, but I did, and now when I need something, I can't get it.
now you want to have an attitude. Now you want to say something about somebody else. Now you want to talk about somebody else. If you had no business giving it because you didn't have enough yourself, you had no business doing it in the first place.
Exactly.
And in that case, please don't do anything for me. First of all, I don't want anybody to do anything for me in the first place, but
Right.
because I want to make sure I do it on my own, and I challenge myself, and I, you know, get myself in a position to make sure that I can do for myself. That's the first step. But this is why all gifts, excuse me, this is why all gifts are not good gifts. Take that back. All gifts are not good gifts, and you have to be very careful about who you accept things from and who you take things from. They may not be doing it from the heart. They might not be doing it with pure love. They might be doing it for another agenda, an alternative motive, whatever the case may be. You have to be very careful about accepting things from people.
That's so true because I've heard and I've seen people say, "Oh, I gave this person this, and that. Now, in return, this person here won't even speak to me." I've had that happen to me, well, but I never talk about it. Where I gave and I gave, and then when I asked that person, "Hey, could you help me out?" They was like, "Oh, I can help you out later. I can't do it now." And then next thing you know, they're not. They won't even call and talk. I've had that a lot. Um, that's that's like another reason why I really don't go back to my hometown. That's sad to say because every time I go back there, there's somebody who's, "Hey man, you got some books to give away?" you
Mm,
know, because there was a time when I had T-shirts, and never forget this, man. And it was my ex sister in law, and she contacted me on Facebook. She said, "When you coming back this way?" And I told her when. She said, "Oh, can I have some souvenirs?" And I like, "Souvenirs." Oh, and then she said, "Oh, and I know you got souvenirs." I said, "No, no, 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 no." And then I say, "Let me tell you something." I said, "If I give something away, that means I gave it from my heart. You don't have to ask me
yeah.
for it. 'Cause I've given books away. I've given books away a lot. I've given T-shirts away a lot. Sometimes just like, okay, let me, you got to move the product. So I'll give it away, and you never know. You give it to somebody, and that person may tell somebody else, and they may contact you and say, "Hey, man, I would like to get some of your books." I've done that before. Out in California, I've given my books away to people. I mean, I did a reading, and I'm like, okay, then ain't nobody gonna buy no books up in here. Then I'll just go ahead. Hey, man, here, and this one place. I never forget. I was giving books away, and this lady she sit there and she read it. So then she got ready to get. I said, "No, no." I said, "That's yours." She said, "Oh, this is mine." I'm like, "Yeah." And she said, "What you drinking?" you know. And she said, "No." She said, I want to buy you a drink." So she bought me a drink, and I've had that a couple of times where I given books away out there at Maui. It's called Maui Sugar Mill. It's in Tarzana, and I giving books away, and one of them will say, "Hey, let me buy you a drink," and
That's
I'm
what's
like,
up.
"Yeah, you know." And I mean, I did that when the last time I was in Austin. We was at a reading. This lady was from Detroit. And she said, "Oh, 313. Oh, you from Detroit?" I'm like, "No." She said, "But you got three." I said, "That is my birthday." I know, and a lot of people they mistaken because Detroit area code is 313. And
That's what I thought you were from Detroit.
yeah, and a lot of people, and when I tell them, no, 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 that's my birthday. My area code was 616, which I don't even think is in existence anymore. Back in Benton Harbor. And then when I tell them, I say, I'm from Michigan. Don't get me wrong, I'm from Benton Harbor, Michigan. Oh, okay. I said, but hey, the 313. I said, hey. And then I told her that. Then when I got up there, the host, when he was introducing me, and matter of fact, I got the videos on Instagram where he said, he's from those that's from the zip code, even though he's not from your zip code, and I'm like, oh, and I explained, I say, hey man, 313 is not the zip code. I said, I'm not, I said, I'm from Michigan, yes, not Detroit. 313 is my birthday. And he was like, wow. So then he said, oh, 313, that's March, huh? I'm like, yeah. He said, well, anybody from March, come on, man, get this guy a hand, like that. Just, and I said I did that because I could do it, And this time, like I said, I will give books away just for just for it. I mean, I gave some musicians some books, and we follow each other, and I giving them books, and I have one lady. She plays the guitar for me now. I'm gonna give her if she want one. I'll give her a book. It's just the little things I've learned. The little things you do goes a long ways.
Yeah, I say that it is possible to give without expecting a return, and it may not always lead you to emotional debt if you're mature enough to know exactly what you're doing. And I
Exactly.
say look to your higher power to ask before you stuff, because you can be giving to the wrong people who could be taking advantage of you. But if you're asking and you're doing it with love and you're doing it from the heart, I truly believe that God will reveal if this is a mistake or not, or if this is someone who's trying to come. He's going to give you that discernment to be able to figure it out. But people who don't ask and they just run and rip and run and do things, yes, you can become emotionally in debt, mentally, spiritually, physically, if you just rip and run and do things thinking they know what's right without asking before you do stuff.
It's funny you said that. I there was a lady, and I don't know, I don't know if we were dating or whatever. We hung out, and I gave her two of my books, and then I got a phone call, and it was from a guy that she was dating, and he said, "Yeah, man," he said, "I just want to talk to you about something." I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, we gonna sue you for plagiarism." I said, "Plagiarism? What the hell?" I said, "Man, what? Wait a minute." I said, "Who the hell is this?" In the first place. And so then I'm like, okay, this is the dude. Okay, I said, "So you messing with her?" And he said, "Yeah," and not only me, but it's several more. He said, "But we gonna." I said, "You know what, man?" I said, "I hope you do take me to court." I said, "You's a dummy." I said, "Man, every poem in there is copyright. Can't you?
Mm.
Don't you know about copyrights?" I said, "But yeah, go ahead and sue me, and guess who's gonna be paying for everything? You. Guess who's gonna be looking silly? You. You just got out of prison. Oh, you getting ready to go back." Dude
Oh
hung
my
up on me.
goodness.
Dude hung up on me, and I never heard from him again. So then when she called me, and I'm like, "Oh, you gonna have?" I said, "So this is the game you playing? I gave you books. I gave you two books, my first two books, and gave you and I didn't have T-shirts at the time. I had air freshener for cars. And I said, I gave you car air fresheners. I said, and this is what you do? I said, just leave me alone. And she said, no, no, no. And she was saying that she had walked out the house and he had picked up a phone and he was calling all the guys that was in her. I said, all the guys, I'm like, oh, no, 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 And hey, and then don't get me wrong, I try to help her out, try to be a friend to her, but it was always me getting hurt physically and mentally because I'm like, this woman don't care nothing about me. She just playing games. And finally, I left her alone. And then, once I know when she found out I didn't want to have nothing else to do with her, she was like, well, I'm coming looking for you. I said, yeah, well, you can come all you want. You ain't gonna find me. Like that. And she said, well, she said, I had time to think. That's why I said when I read that part on him, that was she had time, she needed to get, herself together. That's what made me think about that. And I'm like, oh, no. I said, you got to think about it now. Then, from the very beginning, this is not what you was thinking from the very beginning. You was trying to use and play me and and whoever else you messing around with. So, I've learned, and that there, I kind of stopped giving away books because I'm like, do I really want to give my books away and somebody else try to do this? Then I'm like, you know what, long my books is copywritten and they try to sue me. I don't care. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So it took me a couple of years though before I did start giving books away. But I like I said right now, I'll give books. I'll give a person. I tell people if I give you a book, it's because I wanted to. If you ask me for a book, I'm not giving it to you. That's just I don't know why. I just feel like because I feel like you can buy it, but you want me to give it to you, and there's I don't know. I always feel like when somebody asks me for stuff like that, there's something behind it.
Yeah, like I said, you got to be careful who you give to, and you have to be careful who you take from. So
Yeah.
it's that give and take. You got to be careful.
Oh
All
yeah.
all good gifts aren't good, and you got to be careful with who
Oh
you
yeah.
get given to because people can take advantage of you. Like, yeah, that's why seek your higher power, ask for that good level of discernment, and I truly believe that he will to you people who are no good. But you have to be right within because if you ain't right within, then you could be setting yourself up for a lesson. Like, sit here and try to tell, ask me to tell you about somebody else, but you ain't even right yourself. Okay, now we're gonna have to take this class again. You're gonna have to learn something new.
Yes. That's true.
So, all right. Well, I think that is a wrap for today's episode. I told you that it was going to be kind of, you know, a great episode. It was going to be rare. It was going to be what it was tonight. So yeah, I can only just spare. I think I come to the realization that whatever happens, happens. It happens for a reason. Nothing is scripted here on 4-1 podcast, reading between the wines, and I thank you again for bringing your experience and your stories as well, because you never know who's listening and who's going to get that breakthrough. And I think and I believe that every single time that we come out here, somebody's going to learn something.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that way also.
Yeah. So thank you for that.
No problem.
What do you have going on in your world this weekend, this rest of this week?
The
What do you
rest of
have?
this week. I have. Let me see. Tomorrow, Thursday. Um, Friday book club meeting. Saturday morning or afternoon. Um, I'm with this group up in Austin called, Austin Poetry Society. They're having their monthly reading. Sunday, got a meeting with you. But mostly this weekend, because we went to Galveston last weekend, had a ball. I took, man, I counted my videos, and I think I taken like 90 videos, and I'm working on that. I'm actually two of my last two books, um, Peaceful Thoughts and Outdoor Memories. I'm taking poems straight from them, and I'm putting it on a long. It's gonna be a long video. Video will have like seven, yeah, 7 poems on it, and then I'm gonna do some short ones, and it's all gonna be the Gulf of Mexico. You
Okay.
know, the Gulf of Mexico. Um, and like I said, you can get my books at Amazon.com/author/Birdman313. You can if you want to look at some of my videos, you go to youtube.com/author poet Birdman31355. And like I said, hopefully by next week, a lot of the videos that be working on this weekend will be up on this, so you can see all the ones that I've done or that I've been working on. I'm on Instagram, Birdman31355. I'm on Spotify, Coffee, Wine, and Words platform, Birdman313. And that's really about it. But yeah, I had to go get another computer, man. The one I had that was doing my videos, man,
Mm-hmm.
that one there was it. We was having issues at the house with the internet, and so I Googled, and then I actually went to Best Buy to talk to them, and I told them what was going on with it, and they said, I told them, I said, when I first got this computer, I said, hey, I was had to put in the shop, after 2 weeks, and I said from then on it was like I had put in the shop like 4 or 5 times, and then I quit going to this one store, Best Buy store, and went to another one. And the guy said, "Oh, he said what they're doing is putting cheap parts into your computer, and they only last maybe 2 or 3 months." And they,
Wow.
yeah, and they said, and they just told me that. I said I googled it, and it says that the drivers, it was either defective drivers or they weren't just working. And the lady said, I'm not trying to sell you a computer. She said, but I'm just going to tell you like this. She said, if you're having that much problems with it, you're going to continue to have it. And I said, I can't, I'll be on the internet, and all of a sudden it says I'm not on the internet, but the other computers is on the internet, and this one here wouldn't. It always had a issue connecting to the internet. So, and I just told her, I said, well, I Googled all of that, I'm like, see, I know now, when I have a problem with any of my computers or tablets, I Google before I even go anywhere. Because if I can fix it myself, I will.
I know that's right. But one thing I do know is that Best Buy, they have a customer for life with me because after what I experienced this year, they definitely helped me out. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
they have a customer for life. As long as, the customer service and the experience is the same, like I'm sold.
yeah. And that's why, plus, I mean, I don't go to, we have another one called Micro Center. And I ain't gonna never forget, man. I bought a computer there, and it was a little small one. I said, okay, I had a computer because, like I said, when I travel, I have a little small or mini computer that I take with me. So that when I shoot videos, I can take them off my camera, and put them on there. And I bought a computer from there, man, and within 3 weeks, that was same thing back in the shop. And then I went there and I worked on it. Then I took it in, and then the lady, they looked at it and she said, "I'm not gonna even open this up. I'm gonna tell you what's wrong with your computer." Because she hooked something up to it. She said, "You got a bad hard drive." I said, "I haven't even had this computer for a year yet." And she said, "Well," and then she said, "Where did you?" And I told her, I said, "I bought it from right here, right over there." And she said, "Did they have a sign that said 50% off?" I'm like, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, them computers there was something wrong with them, and they were just trying to get rid of them."
Mm.
I'm like, "Oh man, yeah." so, so like when we went to get the one I got now, it was another one that we had seen, and when we got there, they told us at the store, they said, "Oh, we don't have that in the store." And so Diana, she said to them, she said, "So if we gotta order it, that means it's an old computer." And she kind of looked, and and she said, "Yeah, that means it's an old computer." So that's just for anybody out there that's listening. If you go to the store
Okay. Okay.
and the computer you want is not there, and they tell you, and you can say, "Well, they showed it on the internet," and if they say you can go to the internet and get it, don't do that. Don't do that, because that computer more than likely is old. They couldn't get rid of it,
Okay.
so they put it out there. So because you got some people, they just, I'm not gonna say they lazy, but they lazy. They don't want to go in the store and look it over and talk to the salespeople about it. And with computers, man, that's what you need to do, is talk to the people, because the technicians that there, because a lot of them there, they had to go to school to get that job.
Right. I
And
got you.
yeah, and I know when I go there, and sometimes I'll say something, and I'm like, "Oh well, I said I did go to school," and I said, "Oh, I have a 2-year degree." I said, even though it's from ITT, they'll back up, and then they'll start getting real with me.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I
They'll
got
start
you.
getting real, because they be like, "Oh, okay, then we just can't sell him no anything and tell him no anything and send him out the door."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That interesting situation being in IT. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. We'll have a conversation about that later. But IT, it is what it is. It's a lot
Yeah,
going on there.
yes, it is.
Well, I'll tell you that tonight was a great episode, and it's a wrap. And tell you that this Snoop Dogg Cali Smooth definitely has me feeling really smooth. I had to stop after a while. I said, "Okay, I understand what we have going on here." Yep,
Yeah.
definitely a winner. Definitely, definitely got me feeling smooth. Wow. All right. So I will see you next week, same place, same time.
Don't you have a meeting Sunday?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
just checking.
Yeah. Yes. I have live Q&A on Sunday.
Okay. Okay. Just
Yeah.
asking.
But we will be here next week, same place, same time.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Any last words before we get on out of here?
None at all.
All right. Very good, sir. Thank you so much. And I'll talk to
Oh
you on
yeah.
Sunday.
Yep. See you. Yeah. Talk with you Sunday.
Okay. All right. Have a good night.
Yeah. Have a good evening.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That was author Birdman 313, and we are wrapping up another episode of Reading Between the Wines. This is Wind Down Wednesday, and let me tell you, I definitely did wind down with this Snoop Dogg Cali Smooth. It really is smooth, and what I have to tell you is that you have to be very careful because it goes down so smooth. But the alcohol content is up there, 12.5, so you got to be very careful because it will sneak up on you. They definitely knew what they were doing with that wine, I'll tell you that. But the reviews gave it a 3.5. I give it a 5. It's like if I had to go somewhere and drink a red wine, knowing that it's going to be smooth, it's not going to be harsh, it's not going to be overly dry, it's on a perfect combination. Really, it really is. And I would love to know the different grapes that are in this wine, but I'm going to do some more research to find out exactly what's in there. But it's a red blend. Highly recommend you picking it up. And also, I forgot to mention that if you scan the bottle, there's an app that you can download. And if you hold your phone in front of the bottle, it actually starts to speak to you. He has a couple different phrases that he says, maybe like anywhere between 5 to 6 different phrases. It's kind of cool. So all his bottles interact with you when you download the app. On that note, I want to say thank you all so much for joining in. If you heard something that sparked interest as far as debt-free living, Black Diamond Consultations, I focus on debt from 4 different realms: spiritual, mental, physical, and financial. I truly believe that you have to get it together spiritually first. After you get it together spiritually, understand, figure out who you are, work towards figuring out your purpose, cutting out all of the noise, focusing on yourself. Because if you're no good for yourself, then you'll be no good for anybody else. I truly believe that when it comes to debt-free living, you truly have to figure out that spiritual aspect first. That's one of the first things that we need to figure out. After that, then we can focus on the mental aspect. What is my relationship with? How do I feel about money? What was my past experiences with money? How did I show up in a world when it came to money? From there, we start to change all of those things. How we feel differently about money, how we accept money, how we handle money. After that, you focus on spiritual, you focus on the mental. When you get those two locked in, those two are so interconnected. When you get those two locked in, now we start to show up in the physical world different when it comes to money. Spending habits. When you understand and you have a better relationship with money, you will start to spend differently. Whether that comes from the food that you eat, whether it comes to the clothes that you wear. And I know most people might think, oh, the clothes that absolutely, because you might start to buy a higher quality of clothes, knowing that these clothes last long enough and you longer, therefore you will begin to save money. Now think about that's just one aspect of it. You start to show up different in the physical world. When it comes to food, maybe we don't go through drive-throughs anymore. We might go to specific stores to get the things that we need, but it's going to fill us up. We're not necessarily going to be ripping and running, going through this, that, the next, the other. We'll be more fulfilled because we're making healthier food choices. Listen, you might need to spend a little bit more in order to get the results you need, and therefore it might show up in your bank account differently. You get what you pay for. after that, like I said, it shows up in your bank account later. You focus on that mental, you focus on that spiritual, you focus on that physical. If you're doing your work, it's going to show up financially. That's one of the tricks that I've learned. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing from those three different realms, by the time you get to the fourth one, the financial one, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier. If you want to learn more information on my philosophy when it comes to debt-free living, please feel free to head on over to LarenGaines.com. I also have a free monthly newsletter, which is called Whispers of Wisdom, inspirational, motivational content delivered to your inbox once a month, centered around debt-free living from the spiritual, mental, physical, and financial realms. Again, all of that information is at LarenGaines.com. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much for joining in. Thank you, everybody out there, for hanging with me tonight. Thank you so much to YouTube. I appreciate you. Thank you so much to Twitch. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody all over the world who definitely tunes into the 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much, and I will see you when I see you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines, where growth is always on the menu, and every pour reveals a little more truth. The conversation doesn't end here. Have something to say? Want to weigh in on tonight's burning questions? Text us anytime at the official 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines hotline at 609-200-1098. Stay plugged in across all social media platforms at Gaines. We're live and in the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, DLive, Twitch, and Dailymotion. Prefer to listen on the go? The audio version is streaming on most major podcast outlets. Until we meet again, take what you've learned, sip slow, speak truth, and remember, transformation starts within. Powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network.